Hey everyone, it's William, and I'm back with another memory which I would like to call Cops and Robbers with a Soaked Sandal. Jacob and I would go downstairs to play soccer or just have fun whenever we had free time after finishing our homework and studying. On one day, we decided to play Cops and Robbers, where one of us would play as a cop and the other one as a robber. The cop would hide the soccer ball or badminton rackets or whatever sports equipment we brought downstairs, and the robber had to find them. Now, if the cop tags the robber, the cop wins and the robber is caught. Since Jacob was younger and smaller than me, and definitely not as fast as I was, I allowed him to use his scooter. And so I let him decide whether he wanted to be the cop or the robber, and he chose cop. So I let him hide the sports equipment, which for us then was the badminton racket and the shuttlecocks. So I closed my eyes and I waited and waited. I counted for a while until Jacob came back and said he hid all the stuff. Then he counted for a minute while I hid and looked for the things that he, as a policeman, hid. So we were underneath our apartment where there were many pillars and a large amount of space, which looks similar to this. So I ran off to find the missing sports stuff, and I tried to keep out of sight. Whenever I heard Jacob's scooter coming towards me, I would stop and run around the corner and look around. And he stopped right before crossing the wall. He stopped, and he looked like he was guarding something. So I tried to see what he was guarding, and I could see one of the rackets directly behind him. So I avoided that area, and I looked around for everything else. And thing is, I didn't find everything else, and I put it in my stash where he couldn't reach it and he couldn't find it. So I got everything except for the racket behind him. And of course, he was still there, guarding the same thing in the same place. He didn't move. He was like a statue. So I ran next to him, trying to get him to chase me, and he would chase me. And I would outrun him still, even though he was on his scooter. But he wouldn't go that far away, and then he would go back, and he would go back guarding like a statue. The last item I needed to get. So I was trying to figure out a way to get him away, so I could get him, so I can get the last thing. So I came up with this plan. I took off my sandal and I put it just at the edge of the wall, like really close, so you can see the tip of the sandal, but just not my foot. So it looked like I was just standing there, and it was in clear sight of Jacob. So I climbed up the pipe and see what he would do, and if he falls for it and go towards the sandal. As I planned, he did leave the badminton racket and went straight towards my sandal. And I took the chance. I ran towards it, and I stopped to see Jacob pick up the sandal and walk towards the uh, the gutter. And I mean, it's where the water goes after it rains. And I I slowly snuck towards the item. Then he turned because he knew the whole plan already, and he smiled. He turned and smiled, very big. It was very cute, but I got real nervous. And he shouted, "William, look what I've got." And I turned and saw him. And I continued to move very, very slowly towards the wreckage. But my eyes were locked on him. He lowered his hand and he kept just lowering. He was making these faces, these threatening gestures. He's going to drop it. And it just rained. So there's water inside the gutter. And I was like, "Jake, don't do it, please. Don't do it, Jake, please." And he kept lowering his hand, and I dashed towards him. And he let go of my sandal into the water. And he laughed as I made a face and grabbed my sandal out of the water. Then he tagged me and said that I lost. Excuse me. And he was laughing and laughing, saying, "Oh, you lost, I won." And I ended up laughing with them. And it was time to go upstairs and go home. So, I mean, every time I took a step towards the elevator, I could hear the squeaking sound, bearing as a reminder of my wet sandal. And that is the end of this memory with Jake. I am sure that he remembers all of these positive and fun games we used to play. And even though he's being told how much we abandoned him and that we never loved him, I'm pretty sure those memories will stick with him forever. And I do love him very dearly, and I hope that when he comes back to us, we'll be able to reunite together. Once again, I'd like to thank you all for taking the time to watch this video. Please subscribe and read our articles at our website at www.jacobfolkler.com. With your support, we can bring Jacob home.